Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first scene of Vampire the Requiem, a requiem for London. It is the beginning of the night of the first Elysium that London has had within almost half a year. An almost agonizingly long period of time has passed since the last Elysium due to an unfortunate set of transgressions that occurred within its boundaries, which has caused many of the Elysiums over the past year or so to close, at least temporarily. However, with the passing of half a year, the prince deeming that the domain has finally mellowed somewhat, he has deemed it fit, alongside the two keepers, to have the Elysiums reopened. At least as Elysiums. And you are all invited. Some of you are considered model citizens, others less so. But you have all been invited to a grand reopening of sorts, to one of the keepers' clubs, Keeper Alara, reopening the club Nightshade. It is
Did anyone else lose Bishop?
I don't know.
Mid-sentence, in fact.
Mid-sentence.
Hello?
Okay.
Okay, so we did lose him.
Come back to us, Bishop.
That's rough.
Come back to us.
This scene is rough, bro.
Yeah. Reality.
No, it's probably he has some problems with his headset that it'll occasionally just blank out. So give it a second. We'll see if it gets.
There we go.
Oh, I'm back. Sorry about that. Where did I get to?
Has reopened her.
Nightshade is just reopened.
Yes. Nightshade is just
Yes.
reopened. You, of course, are all invited on the VIP list, as it were. Outside, there's a large queue, people trying to get in. This has always been a very popular establishment, even for those of you who aren't particularly street savvy. You notice it's a popular place to go for Kindred to go feed. It's a popular rack. Always has been, even when it was closed as an Elysium. It was still available as a rack. And it's also known as a place that, on occasion, you can meet things outside the Kindred purview. But outside, you notice security is a lot tighter than usual. Upon approaching, does everybody want to make me wits weaponry checks?
I don't have weaponry, so no.
You can roll it, you just suffer a dice penalty because you are considered unskilled.
Okay.
For physical skills, you just suffer a -1 dice penalty. Well,
Oh,
if you
actually,
get any,
go-
if
go
you
ahead,
get
sir.
any tens, like you just did, Evan, roll another dice because tens explode.
Mm.
I got
What are we actually
1
rolling
8.
for?
That's wits weaponry as you approach.
Mm.
Can your dice pool be reduced to 0, or is it always a minimum of 1?
It can be reduced to 0, in which case you roll a chance dice, in which case 10 is a normal success, the dice does not explode, and 1 is a dramatic failure.
Okay.
So it's -1 dice if you don't have weaponry.
Yes. If you're unskilled in a physical or social skill, you suffer a -1 dice penalty. If you're unskilled in a mental skill, you suffer a -3 dice penalty.
Oh no.
Oh, there's the first critical failure of the game.
Okay, Daryl, note, take a beat, because you've suffered a dramatic failure. Dan, these people look like toy soldiers. You're pretty sure you could just walk right in there. Just walk through these people.
Honestly, my character would think that. So
They are.
yeah.
They look, frankly, pitifully equipped to deal with you. In fact, security in general appears very poorly equipped to deal with you. Particularly. Oof,
Oh, Jesus.
that is the static
I
in
didn't need the
Julian's
ability
brain.
here.
For all of you that got successes, you'll recognize that these people, they're wearing long trench coats, but you can tell that they're packing heat, serious heat, not just a baton or a nightstick. You can maybe see a holster just poking through their trench coat or something like that. And they seem to be packing quite a lot of ammunition to go with it. Just judging by how sort of strained some of their coats are. You would also reckon they are probably wearing stab-proof or bulletproof vests. But yes, as you begin to, as you approach, you will be allowed in when you show your invitation.
I have an important question, Bishop.
Mm-hmm.
You said there was a line of people
Was a
going
line
in.
of people. All of you sense a lot of heartbeats. You can all sense the sort of frantic, excited beatings of their hearts and their bated breaths.
Due to my hilarious amount of fame, because it's hilarious, I will take a moment because this is a goth club, isn't it, Bishop? It's a goth club.
It's a cyberpunk club, but some goths show up.
Yes. These are my people, so I will spend the allotted time necessary to sign autographs and pose for selfies.
Yeah, as the rest of you are going in, you see a rather pale-looking white-haired man engaging with the queue. He's drawn quite a crowd to himself. People seem really excited to see him, like really excited.
Julia
But yes.
Jill would just simply take notice. I do believe that as vampires, we do naturally can tell the predatory instinct of other vampires, correct?
You can tell when you look at them, yes. For anyone who looks at Joshua, you can immediately tell he's a vampire. You can sense the beast resting on his shoulders.
Yeah. Seeing that and seeing all the people crowd, Julian will just kind of shake his head and take out his phone and look at a text message and type back in a bit of a almost a mild fury, but tries to continue past the door.
Yeah, I probably came here with him, so I'm just gonna kind of stand to the side, wait till he's done doing his thing.
Okay. Julian, as you type, you just kind of you're just briefly stopped by security. Fairly tough, young-looking woman. Who are you identified as one of the paper mache soldiers? Oh,
So William will look at the woman now, almost looking through her like she's not even there, and just simply says, "I was invited. Move."
you have an invitation?
And yes, he would show it to her.
Welcome. VIP lounge is upstairs. A lot of you are mixing with the crowd there.
And he just kind of goes, he nods his head, adjusts his hat a little bit, and walks past her.
When you walk into the club, you notice that your beast feels very placid here. It is like it is cooled down from a boiling temperature down to room temperature. But it's not chilly, it's not unsettling, it's actually rather comfortable. It's almost like the beast recedes and you stop feeling its roiling in your chest and around your body.
I see.
Oh, what happened to Anthony?
He just disconnected. I assume he'll be back.
Yeah.
Make sure to keep an eye on the chat, though, for the people to come in and out, because it's know what it is.
But when you enter, yeah, there's even more heartbeats. It's almost deafening just how many people in here. It's not the music; it's the amount of people, the breathing, the movement, subtle twitches and body language of the mortals present. You all sense this. Your beast can sense it. Every moving body is being analyzed by your beast, being stared down, being looked up and down, almost identifying which one would be the easiest to feed upon, which one would be the easiest for you to hunt here. It would be insufferable if you were not drawn to feed, but it is very natural. But yes, what do people do when they actually get into the club?
Before I enter, I was going to ask, can I do a trick for them outside?
You can do a trick for them outside.
Hey, I have this gigantic dice goes to this one thing. I'm going to flex. And I'm going to spend a willpower for the extra 3 dice. Because that's how that works, right?
Yeah, you roll your you roll your dice pool, and if you have a specialty in it, it gives you +1 dice.
But if you spend willpower, it's 3 extra.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can get a specialty as +1, and then you can spend a willpower to get an additional +3.
Okay, and I'm going to spend a blood for an additional +3.
You're ridiculous.
I know. It's almost like I want my first proper roll of the game to be an exceptional success or something. Who knew?
I'm saying that in character too.
Oh, excellent.
Because I'm just standing there waiting for you to be done.
I mean, you're not wrong.
That is sad.
This is why I download games on my phone.
Wow, that is literally the saddest roll. Oh my god, I still succeed. Thank you, one solitary 9.
I can imagine. It's just
Oh my god!
They're just like to one of your super fans. And what's that coin behind your ear doing? Oh,
Sorry.
No, what he actually does, he does a pretty normal card trick, which is basically takes out a deck of cards, he displays them along his arm. If I had like gotten it, I would have done something stupid, but he doesn't. Basically, he does the whole pick a card, whichever card you want, flips them all back up when they've selected the card. It's all good. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. That's fine. He then takes the deck, taps it 3 times, flicks it over. As he does so, the entire deck has turned into tarot cards, with the exception of the one card that the individual took.
I clap.
oh
That's
yeah.
actually pretty basic magic.
The crowd is like, oh my god, what the fuck?
I clap enthusiastically.
He smiles and
How
he
did
kind
you
of
do that? What the fuck?
that, my dear, is magic. But in order to see more, you'll have to come to my show. And he'll give the date and time of the show, because why not? I'll plug something.
I'll be there, man. I'll be there. That was fucking awesome.
He wraps his arm around Isabella's waist, and as he walks towards the entrance to the club, and he's like, "Well, look on the bright side. At least we can say that I've made one person's night tonight. Also, if I wasn't foolish, she wouldn't love me."
Let's go with that.
He smiles to the bouncer and looks her up and down. And he goes, "I've got a question for you."
Is it anything like that card trick?
No, not at all that interesting. I'm just curious, where did you serve?
Actually, that's a good question. He's actually relevant. I'm gonna go check. You're already making me look up these minor NPCs as stuff.
I apologize for nothing. You had me look up the travel time between Kyoto and Nagasaki in the 16th century.
Ooh.
I hated him for about a day and a half.
How many months? Jesus. Wait.
It's fine. I wept. It was a thing.
How many people died of dysentery?
The Oregon Trail. The war.
Oh my god, I love you right now.
We'll get there someday. Oh my god, we made it.
I'll just find out. I think it's just error 404 at Bishop with one single question. Winning.
No, but she says 2nd Medical Brigade, 10 years.
Interesting. Are they actually taking weapons, or are they not?
But you succeeded on the roll. You know they're packing weapons. You're not quite sure what they're packing.
No.
You know
Are they taking our weapons?
Oh yeah, they're definitely taking your weapons.
He sighs nonchalantly as he just kind of does the long coat throwback, and he just removes the 5 throwing knives, the various different salves that could be used to create fire, his cane.
Do you really need to bring all of those?
I carry them with me wherever I go.
Well, you're a creative one, aren't you? Jesus.
It's all part of the business, I suppose.
No, just talk to us when you wish to leave, and we'll get it all back to you, the same as it was.
Thank you. Do you have anything on you, Doctor, or are you the good little girl?
I'm trying to stay out of trouble.
Okay. All right, well. Shall we?
Of course.
Just
As we
confirming
pass-
Isabella is... Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry, you continue.
Just confirming Isabella is not carrying weapons, yes?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Just to clarify, as we enter, that interesting dampening the beast vibe. Hey, Bishop, be that magic, yo.
You can roll me wits occult.
I can.
I want to roll that.
Yeah. Let's hope this dice roll is not as imminently sad as the last one. Does my specialty and things that go bump in the night apply?
No.
What's a success? An 8 or a 7?
8, 9, 10.
8, 9, 10.
Damn.
Okay, so
2 successes.
okay, you need a success to win in this system. So you're not entirely sure what it could be, in the sense that you can't specifically call out what it is. But you would, an educated guess would put it at some form of kindred ability. Potentially sorcery, but unlikely. You think this is probably some advanced discipline or devotion on display. It's strange though. It doesn't feel. It's not like it's forcing your beast down. It's not like it's not violent. It's a bit unnerving, in fact, how positive a feeling is. How comfortable and relaxed it makes you feel, because the beast doesn't really perform constructive acts. Disciplines, sorcery, devotions, they generally do not achieve constructive things. It is unusual for them to do so. This is likely a pretty niche and unique ability that is on display. And you'd wager it probably covers the entire club, because when as soon as you crossed that threshold, as soon as you walked in the door into the main club room, that's when it took place. It was kind of like, almost like in those sci-fi shows when you walk through decontamination. But far less clinical than that.
Fascinating. Well, actually, Bishop, can we eat and drink?
If you use the Blush of Life, you can eat and drink as well as any mortal.
He just looks at her and goes, "Come on, I want to drink."
All right, let's go.
And we will walk our little asses upstairs to the VIP area so other people can do their thing.
Mm-hmm. Heavero.
Yo.
Like many kindred here, you can sense the beating hearts and the breaths, the breathing, the movements of every human here, every human a yard or two. But unlike most here, who would generally just see it as a practical advantage, or find it vaguely alluring, for you it is like a pressing migraine. It's almost like you can feel the beast thumping against your skull like a rattling cage. It wants to feed. It wants to feed now. It is starving. And there are so many vessels, so many bags of flesh and blood, and all you have to do is take one, and it wants to do it now.
Okay.
And you can feel that as you approach the security, who also register as mortal. I'm going to have them make a quick wits roll on you, because unless you want to actively hide the fact, do you want to hide the fact that you're hungry right now? Because you aren't just hungry, you're starving.
Yeah, I'm going to try to hide that.
Okay, they'll make an empathy roll. They're not very good at it.
All right, so what do I have to roll?
Okay, they fail. Would roll me manipulation and subterfuge.
Okay.
So you just have to succeed.
Do I take any penalties?
You're really hungry, I'd say, yeah, take a -2 dice penalty, because you are really hungry right now. Like, this isn't easy to hide. It's kind of like... Oh,
All
when
right.
you're in when you're in an emotionally unstable state like this, it kind of becomes a bit harder to hide your intent and to do a lot of things. Like driving or having a headache, for example, is just pretty nasty sometimes.
No successes.
No successes. Well, they failed 2. You're the defender, so you win. You can opt to take a dramatic failure, in which case they will realize that you are perhaps not in the best of ways. But
You know what? I'm a sporting champ. Let's do it.
okay.
I'll take that. I'll play your game. You want to do this? It's evident.
I mean, to be honest, this is probably the healthier approach, given given what would happen. As you approach, both a woman and a man, they kind of both raise an eyebrow at you. They will actually have refer to you by name. Mr. Heather, are you okay? You seem out of it.
It's been a long night.
Oh, Heather, sorry, my bad.
He will touch his face and kind of sigh and just almost try to keep his composure, but I suppose his eyes are telling it as the veins are kind of drawn into his eyes. And your weapons, correct?
Yeah, would you just wait here a moment?
He nods.
Okay. She whispers something over over the what's the name of it?
Intercom?
Yeah. It's like a thing you put in your ears, like a mobile, but I've blanked on the name. But
An earpiece?
Walkie-talkie?
yeah, an earpiece. That's it.
Mm.
Yeah, she whispers something over the earpiece. You catch bits of it. She said something. You catch the parts hunger, kindred, and the other part blow up, proceed? Question mark. And then she clearly receives a response. And after about 30 seconds, about four other security guards are going to show up. Again, very heavily armed, but subtly so, or as subtly as they can be. And the woman will simply ask her, "Would you mind coming with us? Maybe more. We'll give you a more appropriate entrance given your current state."
You're making quite the scene, but okay.
The lesser of two evils.
I'm not
Do you
here to
want
make
to-
trouble. How'd
I
you
know.
get?
I know. We all know you're not here to make trouble. We just want to ensure that trouble doesn't find you.
By your leave then.
All right. They're going to walk you around the corner and through the back entrance. This is when you will feel the effect of this kind of wave wash over you
Mm.
when you enter the building. That's also what causes your beast to sort of finally start trying to break out of its cage. It really doesn't like being sedated like this. Kind of like how an animal tries to lash out when it's being tranquilized.
Mm.
So I will need you to roll me your frenzy, which I think is. I'm just going to double check. Resolve plus composure. Basically, your willpower. You suffer a -4 dice penalty because of your immense hunger. However, you do get a bonus because of what your beast is under currently. It's actually kind of a small miracle that you've managed to resist it up until this point, but hey, resolve. It's great.
Mm.
Um,
So I'm down 4, but what am I up?
you're down 4, but you gain 3. So you're basically a -1 dice penalty. To resist frenzy, you need to roll resolve plus composure, and that's all you need to roll. You just need 1 success on this roll.
I make it.
And he's got 3.
Nice. No, you need an 8 or higher.
It's in Misk.
It's a misc. Oh,
8, 1, 10, 8, 4.
okay. Did you re-roll the 10? Also, roll the 10 again? Because if you get another 10, then roll another success. You could get an exceptional. Okay, just a normal.
Mm.
But, okay. Unfortunately, with the help of whatever's affecting, you're not sure why the beast just sort of receded back into its cage suddenly, but you managed to kind of push it down finally.
Mm.
It's been pushing at you all night. You have not had a fun time hunting. In the area that you've been hunting recently, you've noticed there's been a lack of foot traffic, and the foot traffic that has been, well, slow.
Mm.
Not suitable feeding vessels. People who are tired. People who are either tired or have already been fed upon. It's not normally like that. That might be a point of conversation as soon as you enter the club, but when you do,
Mm-hmm.
You are met face to face with a person you might want to inform. It's the keeper. As you are sort of kind of escorted through the back door and into effectively a white room.
Okay.
She enters.
Mm-hmm.
White room's fairly plain. There's a table in the center. It's very much a room that you would, under most cases, would be considered for interrogation. But there are some guards with her, and they are carrying some refreshments for you.
Is it alcohol or blood?
It's blood. You can smell it.
Oh, yeah.
It almost causes your beast to kind of start racking your brain again, but you've pushed it down. You can do it again.
Mm. So, not gonna just like start gobbling it down. So he'll state his business before he starts indulging himself.
Oh, my poor my poor Mr. Herveau. Such a state you're arriving to our Elysium in. Rough nights.
Indeed.
I would have thought the Invictus would have been treating you with more prestige.
Oh, they are treating me with what my status would allow.
Certainly hope it would have been kinder than this. But I
Well,
hear your covenant's been up to its neck in domain breaches recently, so it doesn't necessarily surprise me.
I believe you should be aware that there are certain areas around. Actually, before that, all of that, can I have a wits politics?
Sure. What are you looking to discern?
Um, who is this woman?
Ah. She does register as a kindred.
Mm-hmm.
The Three is quite powerful. It's quite in regards to your beasts sizing each other up, hers would appear more dominant, at least on a surface level.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, roll me wits politics.
Right.
Ooh. Or did you roll in?
No, I didn't. I didn't roll yet. I was
Okay.
looking at my sheet.
Okay.
Mm. One success.
One success. Okay, you well, a success. You know that she's keeper Alara Shade.
Mm-hmm.
She's a Maquette of some age. You're not quite sure how old she is.
Mhm.
She has never publicly divulged that information.
Hmm.
But given the fact that she has the status of an elder within the city, you'd reckon that the upper echelons, primarily of your covenant, would definitely know at least a rough age.
Mhm.
She showed up within the domain a couple of centuries ago,
Mhm.
and she's had a very tight hold on the entertainment sector. You know that she's almost certainly done a bit of horse trading with the ruling powers that be, including your house, in order to maintain it, because you reckon if she hadn't made those deals, House Blackton would have probably come down very hard on her.
Mm.
But she seems to have been around for long enough and have done enough favors, or at least been seen as reliable enough that the prince seems to have given her one of the positions of keeper. From your memory, and from what you've heard down the grapevine,
Mhm.
it was something of an olive branch to the sort of city at large, sort of if an independent can gain status in the city, everyone can. Very much this sort of a message of optimism and entrepreneurship that you reckon the court was probably trying to give by appointing her as keeper.
Mhm.
As for the services she's provided the court, you're not sure. That seems to remain between the court and her.
Do I know what covenant she is before I start like divulging information?
Oh, she's independent. She's
Okay.
not a part of any covenant. Again, that's
All right.
what's sort of That's why I was rather surprised for her to gain the status of Keeper of Elysium. It is unusual for those outside of Covenant to acquire much status, certainly not a core position.
He nods at her statement, remaining polite, cordial. There is something that you should be aware of, being that the prince has decided to make it known that everyone can assume power. I wouldn't want any unfortunate circumstances to befall your establishment. Certain areas have been hit very hard, and most vessels have already been fed on or drained.
With respect, that's why I have a private military force armed with SMGs outside my building. I don't think you have to worry about that here.
Your
From what
reputation
you're telling
precedes
me,
you.
from what you're telling me, and from what I've already heard from several kindred, surprised it's an Invictus. It was the Carthians up until recently that were complaining about their domains being violated. It would appear that that's more a problem for the Covenants than myself.
Well, then forgive me for taking up your time.
Oh, it's quite all right. I didn't exactly want some deaths inside my establishment, particularly on the first night.
There
Although,
wouldn't have been any deaths, but I appreciate your candor and your due diligence.
yes, to be fair, it would have been better now than any other night. It would not have gone well for you if you had done that in front of one of the lupines. And from what I do, we do actually have a circus act within the club right now, so yes, no frenzies tonight.
Is there anything else you needed?
No, but I'm curious. Where do you feed, traditionally speaking?
I'm sorry.
Well, it'd be good to know that that's the area that's being targeted, I presume.
I thought you already knew. You've been flipping ever since this conversation began.
What the Carthians have. I'm surprised it's an Invictus who's so hungry, and knowing you by reputation, you're generally not one to fall into such a state. I doubt the prince would elevate one such as you, if you did.
However comfortable this conversation is, and all the respect that you do, if there isn't anything else that you need from me, may I be excused?
Well, of course, I must admit, this place does kind of go against the theme of the whole club, really. But alas, you may be on your way. Anthony, Hervo, sorry. You have gained 2 blood points. You have had to gorge upon quite a lot of cold blood. Cold blood isn't nearly as nutritious as fresh blood. You actually have to have a set number of pints to actually
Mm-hmm.
gain any nutrition from it, you've probably drank half a barrel in terms of like the sheer quantity.
Mm-hmm.
But you're at 5 blood now.
Okay.
But yes, try not to show up to my Elysium so parched in the future. I would appreciate it.
As you wish.
Thank you. And yes, you're led out onto the main floor of the club, where all of you are sort of VIP lounge, where all of you are going to converge.
Chris, I'm going to ruin that woman. I'm going to take everything from her. Everything. Oof.
Just
Everything.
can I do an intro or?
You can intro yourself, yes, entering the VIP lounge. I did miss you that. My apologies.
Yeah. Yeah. Natalia will just come up to the building. She'll look around. Anyone who look at her sees she seems twitchy, kind of, and she will just hurry up to the. She's a bit late. She's hurries up to the gate and just has the invitation in her hand. Just looks at the guards, just passes it to one of them or whoever's in front.
They let you in without question, after all. They recognize that you are the child of your sire. And he is very well liked in the domain.
Lovely. Yes, of course.
They
Yeah.
even say, keep a they even say, keep a shade, sends her regards to your sire.
Thank you. I will pass that along.
Yes, you all finally meet in the VIP lounge. A lot of screens, a lot of images. It's sort of like a central bar area, and it's being tended to by a mortal. But you'd reckon he's in on the game, given that he's in the VIP lounge. There's various TV screens sort of circling that bar just above it, showing various events, and most of them sporting, some of them popular TV shows, like the X Factor, Britain's Got Talent, that sort of thing.
Soon, Bishop. Soon.
Also pro gambling on.
Oh.
But yes, and there's quite a lot of kindred here. You recognize all of the predatory auras. You don't necessarily recognize the kindred behind them, but there's quite a few kindred here.
Of the PCs, let's do that wonderful. Everyone recognizes me. Hi, I'm really famous. But no, of the kindred here, let's do a call off. Does anyone here possess the 2 stats that would identify you to kindred, unless you watch TV? Does anyone here have city status or, less importantly, covenant status, but city status more so?
Yes.
All right, so hang on. Daryl does, Anthony does, and I do.
I have covenant status.
Nope.
Covenant status isn't super relevant, as that would only afford you recognition of in your covenant. City status, however, does possess, and you would vaguely recognize him. Yes, he was elevated. He was one of the kindred elevated by the prince of the last Elysium, the one that almost went to shit and caused the Elysiums to be shut down for 6 months.
Yeah, I guess what Julian does have a bit of fame, so he said the ringmaster might recognize him, though it's unlikely.
But you know what? Is it just 1 blood for Blush of Health, Bishop?
Just 1 blood.
basically, yeah. So he'll spend the blush of health, and he doesn't hop over the bar. What he does is he hops up onto the bar, so he's sitting on the bar. If you get me. And he will look he looks at the barman who's there, and he smiles and he goes, "I am to assume with all good authority that, well, the drinks are on the house." Yes.
Yes, but you'd just a quick out of character note, but it's on the house, but cold blood isn't very nutritious. I'm just gonna get up how much you'd need to drink in order to gain a single blood point.
Oh no, he wants alcohol.
Oh, that's also on the house.
Hey, yeah, but he doesn't want cold blood. Ew.
It is very.
He looks at Isabella, and he just kind of quirks his head to the side, like to kind of say, "What are you drinking?" with question mark eyes.
I'm good for the moment.
You sure?
Appreciate it, but yes.
All right then. In that case, I don't know. What Dustin? Okay, hang on. Let me have a look. See here. Okay. Question: did you literally decide to buy Liberace's alcohol collection? Did you the entirety of his liquor cellar after he fashioned himself to death? Good God. Okay. No. Ah, there we go. I'll have the spiced Kahlua with a citrus twist. I'll have that shaken 3 times and served with a cherry. Thank you.
Julian would take notice of Natalia. Is she famous for herself or for her sire?
You don't know who. I don't think you recognize her.
Yeah,
She has no fame.
Okay, sorry.
For the record, I should point out for posterity, the Ringmaster is famous in the sense of he runs something very equivalent to the Cirque du Soleil, which is called the Cirque du Macabre, and he's also this world's equivalent of Chris Angel, if Chris Angel was, actually fancy and not a dick.
Also, for the record, that drink you just ordered is disgusting.
I know, right?
I was about to say that if your beast could detect disgust, yeah, it would ping right now because yeah.
Those are
It was
things
literally the most noxious combination I could think of.
Oh my, the circus has come to town and it's brought drinks to match.
Does somebody actually say that?
Yeah, a young woman.
I do point out to you that that's disgusting.
So what were you saying, Bishop?
A young woman, probably no older than 21, in a cute white dress, approaches you. Very fair looking, with medium length blonde hair. Very striking.
Do I know who she is?
Roll me wits politics.
Can I roll intelligence politics? What's with all these wits rolls? I actually have to check what my politics is. I know he has some.
Actually, this would be intelligence politics, because politics relates to your memory, so, yeah.
Huzzah, I have a slightly less shit dice pool.
She just sits on the stool next to you.
It's a crone. It's a member of the Circle of the Crone. Calling it now. Yeah, I get a success.
Okay, no, you recognize this person. It's Ombre. She's a member of your own covenant. She's one of the harpies, one of 2, only 2 in London.
He hops down from where he was seated, and he will take her hand in his, and he will kiss it very softly, and he'll say, "If I wasn't flamboyant, and if I didn't remind everyone every 30 seconds the circus had come to town, they'd forgotten, and then where would people run away to?"
Well, that is what the Church of Longinus is for now.
We've gotten to the point of evening for blasphemy, haven't we? I normally need at least 3 or 4 more of these.
I'd only need 1, to be honest.
Oh, where are my manners? Allow me to... What was her name?
Ombre Brimo.
Ombre. Brimo.
Brimo.
Brima. Okay. Ombre Brima. She was a harpy. Harpy of the City of London. Allow me to introduce you to Dr. Isabella Morrow.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, pleasure's all mine. Didn't know you were into the shy academic types, Joshua.
What can I say? If we ever find out what gets my heart palpitating, I might just come back to life.
Somebody has to mail them out.
So we're the hosts. We've been sitting here for nearly, probably 10, 20 minutes.
What was that, Darryl? Sorry, you said 10, 20 minutes, and that was all I heard.
No, sorry. Is my voice coming in clear?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
No,
Sorry. Ombre just says, well, I've seen you pull off things more grandiose than that, so it wouldn't surprise me in all honesty.
He shrugs as he drains the last of the drink before he taps the... Oh, can we become intoxicated?
You're functionally human. So
yes.
I suppose so.
He taps the glass for basically another drink, for another measure, and he says, ultimately, what can I say? Spectacular effects or illusions are all well and good. However, this is the party of, well, I was going to say the year, but then again, it's been, what, half a year? So the party of the bi-yearly, I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Well, I wouldn't expect you to.
I'm curious if that's something you might be able to help me with.
Oh, what might that be? I have quite a few things I think I could help people with. I have a few things I think people could help me with.
So he leans against the bar, and this time he doesn't gulp the drink that he has now. He very gingerly sips it. And he says, so many new and interesting faces. Faces I will admit I don't know. Like, who's that? That young woman. She's rather pretty. He says, looking towards Natalia, just kind of like, nonchalantly from the bar.
Oh, I'm going to introduce you to... She smiles rather mischievously.
Oh dear. Very well. He knocks back the drink like, it's going to be one of those evenings. He doesn't smash it down on the bar, but he kind of puts it down on the bar with authority.
Oh, Natalia, 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 some a woman about as beautiful as you starts waving at you.
There is you would swear that the woman just touches very briefly, just touches the bridge of her nose with her fingers, and kind of just her. You can see her shoulders just kind of just like tries to get loose, and she takes a breath, maybe something like that, and she just turns over, smiles, and just says, "Hello, how can I help?"
Oh well, hi. I just wanted to introduce you to a friend of mine, Joshua Bainforth, ringmaster of the Cirque du Macabre.
Hello, good evening.
He extends his hand. A face I don't know, and a lovely face at that. I said I had to remedy this.
Yeah, my
Thanks.
sire wanted. Yeah, your sire wanted me to introduce you both.
Well, thanks a lot. Pleasure. I haven't had the time to see your well, business, but
Also, roll wits
I'll,
empathy.
I'll get to that.
Roll what, sorry?
You can both roll wits empathy, by the way.
That
Those are
bitch.
nice.
I mean, okay.
Oh, not d6. It's
Oh, Jesus, Mother H. Christ, Jeebus.
I believe you succeed.
it's 1,
It's a contested roll. I can sense it in my bones.
3, 4. She gets 5 successes. She gets an exceptional success.
Yeah, and I am going to get.
I'm going to choose to critically fail. I believe
And
I can.
I'm going to
roll.
roll a chance die, so I might not have a chance to select it because I am at 0 dice. Yeah, I'll just take a critical failure in that as well.
Y'all take beats. I mean, okay, Natalia. Apparently, your sire has has much more influence than you thought. Considering apparently he has enough status to start giving dictates to harpies.
Lovely.
And Joshua, same.
I'm important enough to be met. That's what he's thinking.
Apparently, Natalia's sire is very powerful within the city, and not only that, is setting you up to meet with his child for some reason.
And who might your sire be, my dear?
Well, I suppose it's not secret. It's a secret to the player. One moment. Because I cannot remember his name off the top of my head.
This is going to be a really bad whisper, and I emphasize this. He just kind of leans into Isabel. It's like, I think she's really nervous.
You have that effect.
Thanks, Arthur Douglas.
Can I make some kind of roll to identify who the fuck Arthur Douglas is?
You've never heard of this motherfucker before?
He just kind of quirks his head to the side. He's like, ah, yes, Archie, good fellow. Yes. I have no idea who the hell he is.
It's almost as if. Do you say that out loud?
Yes, his response was, "Ah, Archie, decent fellow. I have no idea who he is."
You will actually see that she almost relaxes a bit, and there's a smile, just a quirk of a smile on the side of her mouth.
Umbre just kind of sidles up to Natalia and just says, "Oh yes, he's a very prominent and powerful kindred. Has given his child quite a lot to live up to," and just sort of pats your shoulder slowly, Natalia. She just smiles.
And the tension's back.
A pleasure, my dear. As I said, or I've been introduced. They call me the Ringmaster, Joshua Bainforth. I am also a crusader of the church, the true church of Longinus.
Okay, that's good to know.
Would you like to talk about your religious fulfillment? Yeah, he's totally going to say that.
There's a subtle shift in her. Just like, no.
So I'm
very
kind of
good,
watching.
thank you. I'm good.
I'm gonna-
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Isabella. I gotta put my hand out to her.
Oh, hey, Isabel. And
Hi.
she will present her hand. You know the ringmaster? Sorry, Joshua here?
Quite well.
Well, my condolences. She says with a smile on her face.
Could be worse.
I suppose.
What brings you here?
My presence was requested.
Of course.
Julian will kind of speak out in a mildly irritated tone that says, "We're the host."
Oh, the host? I believe, last I checked, she was dealing with a thing. Oh, actually, that actually reminds me. She snaps her fingers towards you, Herbo. How do you pronounce your first name?
Outside.
Outside.
He'll look up.
I saw you just got out of the white room. What happened?
I was meeting with a very charming young woman.
I mean, that's not true. I'm right here.
I like you more better already.
Overhead jokes.
An audible groan comes from Julian. Like, oh.
Usually when people go there, they're busy getting the shit kicked out of them. I see you've actually come out quite refreshed. What's the issue?
She was plugging me for information that she didn't have.
Oh. Are you sure? She's a maquette. They tend to come well equipped with information.
She asked a lot of questions. Very leading questions.
That's interesting.
Natalia just looks and pipes in. I'm guessing it's also a question of it's been a bit. I don't know if I'm the only one, but it has been a little harder to feed as of late.
Oh yeah, I was hearing from the Carthians. I mean, what are the Invictus having similar problems?
I had to make a pit stop today, so well, maybe it's just tonight being what it is, but I don't know.
As a matter of fact, I came here to see what certain interested Carthians might be willing to trade for some information as it pertains to the individuals who've been naughty, shall we say. Can always use more favors.
This is true.
If the Invictus are willing to come to the negotiating table, I'm sure I can also provide you answers.
And you're Joshua, correct?
Delighted to meet you, Monsieur. Delighted to meet you. He will extend his hand.
Can I have your autograph?
Sure. Hang on, I'm gonna make a dice roll. I'm gonna spend the blood and the willpower again. God damn it, I'm gonna do it. Mostly because don't fuck me. Yes.
Damn.
So sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I get to roll this again. You get to roll 10s again, don't you, Bishop?
Yep.
They explode. Yes.
2, 3. All right. Ooh. Okay. So that's 7 successes, which means it's success. So basically, when he withdraws his hand, he goes, "Sure." When you look at the back of your hand, his autograph is on the back of your hand.
He'll clap enthusiastically, and he'll slip you 50.
Oh my god.
That was totally worth the blood and the willpower. Fight me.
He'll slip you $50. Congratulations, Evan.
Yay.
You're a street performer tonight.
But he'll say, "No, legit. I'm interested in trading certain pieces of information if people are interested in the trade."
Of course.
All in the he looks at his fellow follower of the true church, and he just says, "In the all in his holy name, of course."
Of course, of course. She actually says that in in character. She says, "Oh, pardon me. Of course, churches of all kinds appreciate charity where it is warranted."
He'll like lightly slap her hand. That's not nice.
How else will we feed poor little Timmy? Poor little Timmy, that one orphan that we keep to say we keep orphans.
Ah, so many orphans.
So,
And of course, if in due time certain individuals of certain covenants were remembered, who was willing to extend their hand in friendship and who were willing to extend their hand in vile and blasphemous paganism, well, it'll be fun to be remembered.
I mean,
Which one to choose?
I mean, to be fair, I was going to add, and then the other 20% decided to engage in creepy Frankenstein experiments. But there you go.
You're not until you tried it.
but yeah, none of you were here armed with SMGs, ready to take out the infidels.
I mean, I'm sorry, but something in me is I feel a compulsion. I feel the need to Deus Vult. It's a verb now.
Okay, you're not going to become. Oh,
Julian would.
you,
Oh,
oh, that's fine.
yeah, but he'll just kind of want to speak up and say, if this was just a social gathering, I wish I would have been better informed. I assume that if the idea, as we already spoke about, that there has been violations of domain, we should be speaking upon it. I am tired of the waiting.
Darling, this is an Elysium. No one ever says what they mean.
Or you could go knock on the White Room door and demand your authority.
How about go fuck yourselves? There you go. What's up?
Spicy.
Yeah, I know, right?
Ooh, a new person.
It's not domain breaches per se. It's just that everyone outside the fucking Invictus doesn't have enough turf to feed on. I'm actually kind of surprised that you guys are having difficulty. Maybe it's just because you're all so fucking inept.
Oh, wow, I see. I am in fact being shit-talked by a hoodie. Congratulations, the Asbo generation.
I mean, how disappointing is it that a hoodie is able to fucking judge Falankea right now?
That gets him a drink. I go and get him a drink from the bar. I like the cut of his jib.
So, what flavor of Carthian are you then?
I'm the eat the rich kind.
As I'm currently spectacularly poor, you and I will get along famously.
Fantastic. In recompense, I'll pray for you when the revolution is done.
How far does that get you in general?
For a while, it's working out. We actually killed quite a lot of Invictus. No offense. Well, actually, no, a lot of offense intended.
I'm not Invictus.
I mean, you're not.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm sorry, the zipper on my pants is kind of stuck. You mind getting it for me?
I don't
This place is fun.
I've heard that boot to dick isn't very comfortable.
I don't know. Your mouth is kind of open.
Actually, wait. Curious. With this new person's previous comment to Julian, would that be considered a challenge to his words?
Go ham.
To whose words?
To Julian's words. What he said earlier.
Go ham.
100%.
Go ham. Set this place on fire. I'm all for it.
Man, you're gonna make me blush a life just so I can eat popcorn.
So I'm still going to make the roll regardless, but I'm just curious.
For fucking real though, London's a big place. Nobody should be fucking starving.
So,
I don't know.
so
Actually, Bishop, considering I know London on a tangential basis, I'm going to make a point out here that, like, I've been reading your setting information, so I now have a rough idea where the various different things are. My covenant actually has some of the most populated areas in the city. So, from my perspective, we're Gucci.
The Lancashire are doing pretty well for themselves, yeah. Lancashire, Invictus, and Golden Dracul, per the demographics, should be fine. The Invictus should be thriving because they have so many, just the sheer number of domains they have just kind of outweighs everything else.
I tell you what, Hoodie Shit Talker, what the fuck's your name?
Sebastian,
Pleasure
Oh,
to
you-
meet you.
you showed up on the tally once.
Did you? What?
Yeah.
I tell you what, if you and your Carthian, I don't know, brothers, sisters, political dissidents, words, want information as it pertains to who's been violating your turf, he flicks out a business card, literally just like, my name and number. I'm happy to provide you with some information in exchange for a price. The same goes for the Invictus, another business card.
Yeah, whatever. He tucks it into his hoodie pocket.
Takes it.
The names of individuals, where they're going to go next, things like that can all be divined. For the
Yeah,
right price, of course.
To be honest, I'm not particularly worried about the main breaches. The issue you've got is that you've got almost 200 fucking Carthians in 5 domains and about the same number of Invictus in twice as many. How much is the Lancashire number anyway? Like, around 100? Like, I've seen you guys around.
We tend to fluctuate. We tend to move
Yeah,
where it
to
is
be
that we're
fair,
needed.
I'm not the one with a fucking census. There's one out there somewhere.
He just kind of looks over towards the harpy and kind of blinks. How many of us are there, give or take?
Oh, Jesus, you want me to do math?
But you're the one with the book.
Oh, sorry, I mean Longin. Oh, God. No, I'm just blaspheming like 5 ways to Sunday, aren't I?
Yep, it's fine.
Oh. Well, I know the Invictus did some census work way back when. To kind of account for all the new, like, all the, well, dead kindred after the war. I know both the Carthians and Invictus kind of, they were the most populated. I know they numbered, like, as Sebastian said, they numbered around 200. Lancashire were about half that. And the Crone are close to you, to us in number. I think they're a bit fewer though. I think the Order are actually the least numerous. There's only about 70 or 80 of you in the city. I couldn't possibly say now though. It's been a while since we've actually done that sort of, well, since the courts actually done their sort of research. I know your covenant was paying big bucks for it, as it were. Miss Marrow? Oh, can I call you Izzy?
Call me Izzy.
Oh, that's great. I mean, I was going to do it anyway, but it's nice to have your permission.
Doesn't make a difference. Oh, and as for looking into numbers, not really my area of expertise.
Though she is great with lemurs.
So much more personable.
As you're all talking about that, you know those TV screens I was talking about? Just above the bar?
Mm-hmm.
A couple of them have the new ITV and BBC News up. And both of them move to a rather disconcerting story. third death in 1 month in the tubes. The title's a lot more flowery than that.
Why is it that I sense that this is going to become my problem?
Did you do it?
Nope.
Oh shit, now it's a crowd. Fuck. Ombre just says, looking at the TV.
However, our covenant is the one who have the military force that outwardly look towards supernatural threats, and I unfortunately am one of those individuals.
I have to say, it's kind of strange. Ever since the rise of Terra, Tube's always been pretty heavily locked down in regards to that sort of thing.
Yeah, there was a NOS who controls most of the tube lines, isn't there?
No, Fenston only controls a specific part of their catacombs. He doesn't lay claim to the tube system. It's always just been a way for us to get around to various different parts of the city. We've never fed there, though. That said, 3 people dying down there is a bit unusual.
Depends on how they died, really.
Yeah.
The news, the host, as it were, the anchor, is busy describing the current state of affairs, how the London Metropolitan Police have now are now launching a full investigation. It has become a murder investigation. There are suspicions that that there is potentially a serial killer loose in the city. But information about the state of victims is has not been released to the public. And this is currently a source of concern and a matter of transparency to certain groups that have expressed freedom of information requests. As these deaths have happened over the course of 1 month. Certain information requests have come down on them when the information was initially withheld. But the relatives of the victims are now considering lobbying for the release of this information. It is very unusual for such information to be withheld. Like just other than that, they're dead. Sorry. The police response to this has been that they're still investigating their deaths and how they died, so they can't release this information yet. But you can roll me with sympathy on the person saying that on TV. I'm going to say -2 dice because that's their manipulation skill.
I'm going to roll a chance die once more. I fail.
Okay. You're not sure how genuine it is? Like how genuine this guy is?
Because it's only 1 critical fail per scene, right?
You can take as many critical failures as you want.
I will take a critical fail.
Okay, yeah, no. Okay, it's unusual for you to side with the cops, but you are 100% certain, and you could not possibly be swayed. This guy is definitely telling the truth. For the first time ever, the cops are actually being reasonable. Like, it's like, they can't divulge information they don't yet have. That's just unfair. That's unreasonable. That's silly.
And for Natalia, this is extra weird. Cops are actually telling the truth. This is genuinely a weird evening.
Yeah, you're 100% certain. Like that guy was as honest as they come. Like no way they could be lying. Like it would be absurd.
One success.
Success.
Okay. Okay, both of you think that this is some bullshit PR response, and it's probably not true from what he's saying. Like he comes across as very sketch. Like it's this like this the entire situation is very weird. And usually when these PR lines are being given, it's because they're just trying to do damage control. Like this you would reckon this like
All right.
you would reckon they're probably holding something back. Like it's a bit weird. Like from what little you might not know a ton about how police investigations work, but you know that the family should probably know how the victim died at this point. Like that makes sense. It doesn't usually take this long.
Can I have a wits politics?
Yep.
Bishop, while we do that, I do have a question that Joshua was going to ask. As a sampler, basically a magical kind of a magical taster, if you will. He's going to basically do the Elysium in this have the same rules as Elysium in Old World?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, he is going to publicly, and very publicly, because let's face it, none of this character knows what subtlety is. He's going to try and find the Lady Keeper, because I'm going to ask her to perform a discipline in Elysium, or her permission to do so.
Okay. Keeper isn't immediately available right now.
Mm-hmm.
But she might be around a little bit later.
Okay, I will wait.
But Ombre just points to Julian and says, "You don't have anything to do with this, do you?"
And he looks over and simply says, "People die every day. These simply get reported." But
I'm
no,
not hearing that as a no.
I know, like, isn't that suspicious? Like, you're not denying it.
he does say after that statement, as they kind of go ahead and get it, but he just said, "No, I did not kill them."
I mean, I was just gonna make a joke about how, like, you seemed all standoffish and violent, but apparently you are involved. Oh my!
You can have those assumptions if you wish.
No, the problem is that if she has those assumptions, the whole of the city has those assumptions. That's how heartbeats work.
Oh yeah. You should probably make
Want
it
her
so
to believe you.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't spread around this flagrant bullshit for my own entertainment. No.
That's the second line of bullshit I've heard all night.
And Julia simply says, and goes, "I don't play games." I said, "I'm here because I was asked to be here."
I mean, in that case, I'll be happy to play you if you like.
And darling, you're one of us. I would argue that being a kindred is the greatest game.
I mean, it is sort of, kind of, most of the time. Most of the time.
Blah blah blah, religious fulfillment, blah blah blah, hail Longinus, etc.
I mean, less fat and more. Those Carthians over there and those Invictus over there almost burnt down the whole city trying to kill each other, and that was not very fun. That was not a
To
very
be fair,
fun
we
game.
almost burned down the city trying to kill the Invictus.
But that was a very long time ago.
That doesn't mean we didn't do it.
I mean, I'd like to think we have taken responsibility for our actions and both sides have agreed to let bygones be bygones and move on from such.
Is that some type of poor joke?
No, I was actually just trying to be polite and say that both sides are actually both Lancare and Victus are quite on good terms right now, as far as I'm concerned. So,
Okay.
as far as I know, I am not trying to kill you right now, and that's good. And if nothing else, I think you look quite sexy, and that is probably one reason why I wouldn't kill you.
Low sarcasm.
Julian kind of looks at the harpy and says, "Do you have any information you wish to tell us now, so we can properly prepare for whatever our host would like to tell us?"
I really think you're misunderstanding what a party is.
I don't go to parties. I'm a busy man.
By the way, is the hoodie guy still here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Natalia's been just last few moments. She's just scribbled something on a piece of paper. She'll go over, and she'll just pass it to him. You know, business and all that.
Only business I hear coming out of the Invictus are usually blood oaths.
Hey, favor for a favor, you know. Hey, you pay, I do jobs. Yeah. Fairly straightforward.
I don't know, it feels like some marionette bullshit to me. Pretty much sums up my entirety, or the entirety of my experience of the Invictus at any rate.
Everybody's so mad.
He can
I
do.
mean, I kind of am mad. Like, I have had to deal with, one, a lot of people who have been straight up killed by a sheriff that nobody has ever fucking seen.
Then they're clearly very good at their job.
Not
You probably shouldn't
Um,
shit talk them then.
They're not necessarily
Just a
fucking
quick
sheriff,
thing.
are they?
If you're trying to hide emotions, it's what? Manipulation
Subterfuge.
or composure? Subterfuge?
Actually, I think to hide emotions, composure, subterfuge should be the more appropriate role.
Oh, I'm just checking. Because he can roll against her because... Yeah. Oh, okay. She's actually...
He's actually shit at this.
Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 successes.
Okay, he's garbage at reading emotions this funny.
Ah, okay.
I don't think someone who performs extrajudicial fucking killings that nobody ever sees, apart from fucking friends that are victims, is,
The one thing I have to correct you on in that sentence is extrajudicial implies that it is illegal. However, I will point out that it is technically judicial because it is within the law.
and that follows on to my next point, that is fucking worse, not better.
Okay, so, my hooded friend, how is it that you would police the unpoliceable, the immortal, the blood-drinking, and the profane?
Oh, well, under any modern system, the crimes would actually be fucking investigated.
So what you're saying is you would come to a decision, you would gain popular support for the decision, or install an individual whom would gain support for the decision. Then there would be a sentence and a punishment. However, there is nothing to say that punishment would not or could not be death. So what you're essentially suggesting is justice with more steps.
Yes. I don't think that's necessarily unreasonable. I think that's pretty fucking normal.
Sounds like Boohoo Baby sad though. If you have a problem with the way the city's being run, follow the proper steps. Don't complain to us. You can't actually do. You can't actually do anything.
We don't know who the fucking law enforcement actually is in this goddamn city. They just have cute fucking nicknames while they go about chopping off people's heads for decisions we never even hear about.
Go talk to the prince.
I mean, the prince who isn't here, who basically never meets with anyone.
I mean, politics? Question mark.
So now I gotta spend the next 20 years to deal with a killing that has now definitely happened.
Do you have something else better to do?
Actually, that's kind of what the Carthians are all about.
Other than shop, it's a place that I can only refer to as the Chav chain. Continue.
Fucking whatever, Dumbo.
Wow.
So you're just so mad.
Wasn't fucking like when when your friends are murdered by a ghost for reasons that are never even disclosed.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever? Let me ask you a very pointed question, my hooded friend. Have you ever actually met a ghost?
He actually considers this. You know, I did accompany one of those, one of the. He kind of snaps his fingers and points at Isabella. Accompanied one of you guys.
What do you mean, you guys?
You guys to one of your little places, little places. You know, those places you like to get because they're special in some way.
I'm sorry, you want more specific?
You guys have a thing for the supernatural. You needed some cheap muscle. I got paid a good deal to go help you guys. And then some fucking Frankenstein-esque freak show throwing lightning around burst through the fucking wall. I'm pretty sure that wasn't a ghost, but I think I had a ghost attached to it.
Sounds like you should have negotiated better. Like what? Like
Oh, no, I wasn't employed to negotiate, friend.
so you just
Also, if it helps, hang on. He does actually have a specialty in this, so I am going to ask to roll the occult because he does know what those things are. Because Evan knows out of character what those things are.
Yeah, I want to roll that too.
I actually want to roll that too.
From this silly description of what he saw.
Because out of character, Evan knows exactly what it is.
That is intelligence, or what is it? Intelligence occult?
Intelligence occult.
Are you going to slap minus dice penalties for people who wouldn't actually know what it is?
Oh yeah, people who haven't had an experience of this get -3 dice.
I
If
get
I'm
mixed
ordered, do I know?
Or your auditor call, you probably know.
Okay, I should I roll again with the penalty?
I'll just take off your
Wait,
3
where's
dice. You
this
still get a success. You still get a few successes.
I get an
And,
exceptional success to know what kind of Promethean this was.
Yeah, only the 2.
Oh, yeah, I got one. If you get a 1 cancels out a success, right?
Not in this.
Nope, not in
Oh.
not in this.
Okay. In that case, then 2 successes.
With an exceptional success, Evan, Joshua, you actually don't think this is one of I'm not actually sure what the term for Prometheans are, but you don't think this is actually
The created.
at all. You don't think this is one of the reanimated, one of the created. No, you don't. You actually think the way it's described might imply that, but from the other things he says, you think this is a person that had a spirit fettered to it.
Oof.
Was
Okay.
in the beginning stages of possession.
Oof. Big oof.
Everybody else, well, he said things. It sounds like might be a ghost, might be, but then again, you've never heard stories of ghosts shooting lightning out of their hands. It's more likely, it's more likely something else.
With 2 successes and sworn and status ordered, do I know what Evan knows?
He got an exceptional success, so he just knows more than you do.
Okay.
He was able to put the pieces together based on the rather misleading description. You think this might be a created abomination? you've heard of such things. You've never seen one.
I tell you what, friend, a favor. How about this? Joshua kind of leans back. He sits down because he's been standing up. He kind of sits down and he kicks one of his legs up on one of the low tables. Can we smoke in here?
Yeah.
Okay. He takes a cigarette out of a box with his teeth and he lights it with a silver Zippo lighter. And he says, "I tell you what. How about this? I'll do one. I will answer your covenant 3 questions about the individuals who've been breaching your domain, and if necessary, where they're going to strike next. And in exchange, you take me to where you found that thing."
Isabella and Julian, you know that what Sebastian was referring to was a worm's nest. You really don't want the Lancair to find out where that is.
Yeah. Joshua, you need to back the fuck up.
My offer stands, friendo. Any questions? He's very calmly smoking his cigarette, like, what do I
I give you death stare.
care?
Oh shit, who to piss off more? These are the real questions, Sebastian just says. You know, to be honest, I ain't actually the guy to make this decision, so I'll bring it to Verve, see what she has to say. He kind of gives you a toothy grin when he says that name.
Bring it to
You
the
don't,
what?
With politics.
Bring it to Verve with politics. Roll your intelligence. Everybody roll intelligence politics.
Oh, God, damn it, yet again.
I don't think you seem like the type of person that wants to be in the middle of more shit, considering you've been complaining about your friends disappearing.
I'm not in the middle of jack shit. You're the ones offering to get in the middle of coffee and shit.
I'm not offering to get in the middle of anything. I'm
mean,
wondering why everybody around here is so quick to get themselves into trouble.
I don't know.
Natalia will just pipe up and she'll just say, "Do you see me volunteering for anything? Thank
Nope.
you."
I was going to
Thank
say,
You're smart.
welcome to London.
thanks.
The only people who aren't in trouble are the Invictus, and that's because they run the fucking place.
I'm curious, Izzy. Why is it you don't want me to go looking down a rabbit hole?
Oh, who to piss off more? Who to piss off more?
One success, I think.
One okay, you get a success?
I think so.
Let's see. You got a 7661?
Oh, it's 8, 9, 10 or 7, 8, 9, 10?
It's 8, 9, 10.
Gotcha.
You haven't heard of this person before.
Blows.
You've heard the name bandied around, but you don't know who she is. Like, you know she's a Carthian, but that's it.
Izzy's the only one who knows.
Oh, but is he figure? Okay, is he? You've heard of her. You're not a Carthian, but there's a lot of them in the city. They tend to talk, and you've heard them really talking her up. She's actually a bit of a controversial figure. Like you heard all these Carthians talking once. Calling her a bit of a reckless, violent bitch, but other people talk about her as if she's the second coming of Longinus.
That's quite a statement.
I'm talking about talking or arguing about how she's the future, she's going to revolutionize this city, she's going to liberate it. Once we're done, we're finally going to be free. And the other Carthians talking about how you guillotines are going to get us all fucking killed and you need to take a step back and reprioritize where we stand right now. and don't expect the HVP to go along with your bullshit sort of thing.
Yeesh.
It was very heated. It was a very tense discussion. But it would appear from Verve seems to be a member of the Carthians who's very much venerated within the Guillotine Party, i.e., the Eat the Rich Party.
Great.
I.e., the Murder All the Invictus Party.
Yep.
How much more time has passed?
A while. Actually, enough. About 10-15 minutes we've been talking, and, well, guess who's showing up finally? Curiously, and not at all coincidentally, the music abruptly changes to a very different and more intense beat when she enters the room. She doesn't match it. She's actually quite relaxed and laid back.
Julian will stand and bow from the waist to her presence.
The first person of manners this entire evening.
Natalia will
Oh,
do
is
the
that what-
same, although a little delayed.
Too late, too late.
Oh, is that what we're doing? She'll bow too.
She gets me kind of tipping my drink against my head, like I'm not standing up, I'm comfy.
Oh, well, I mean, at least she made the attempt. I mean, come on.
Julian will speak and say, I hope your endeavors have been fruitful.
Always, always. But why is a member of the Dragons interested in my endeavors?
I wish only goodwill and fortune upon your house. I don't need to be part of your internal workings.
He also thinks you've summoned us here for some kind of ulterior motive and has been chomping at the bit to get to it.
What ulterior motives? We don't
Well,
have those.
I did beat the other keeper to opening my Elysium, so I'd like to think that counts for something. She smiles, very sardonically.
My lady keeper, long may the light of Longinus shine upon you and every footstep that you take.
Why, thank you, that's very kind.
I wish to beg an indulgence for you, an indulgence that I'm willing to pay for.
Out of character, what is the indulgence you wish to pay for?
He is going to ask to perform, basically as a taste test. And also to help push the plot, that sweet plot. He is going to ask to perform Theban sorcery.
And she will simply say, you wish to perform the Lancair's native magic within my Elysium.
For the enrichment of all here, and to identify what I feel could be a common threat to all.
Yes, the ones purportedly violating domain, although not for domains I would have expected. She looks at Sebastian. Sebastian is like just noping out and immediately leaving when she looks at him.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
If it helps, the fashion quotient in this room has just risen by at least 15%.
Yeah, Sebastian just holds up his hands and immediately says, "Not my fucking circus," and walks out. And
That is accurate.
No, darling, it would be mine.
beat me fucking to it.
So, what indulgence would the keeper ask for such an action to benefit all kindred here?
one instance of black rent, and we'll call it even.
Black Rent is her basically asking me a favor, isn't it?
Perform a service for her.
Deal. He extends his hand.
Why, thank you. Well, where would you like to do this? I suppose you can do it anywhere. I didn't really specify. You could do it on top of the bar if you want. Put on a show. Magic man.
This is going to get a little bit interesting, so I think not. Ultimately, even I can only get away with so much hocus pocus in public. So, here will be fine.
If it involves fire, I never said my men and women wouldn't shoot you in the face.
It doesn't involve fire. So,
Excellent. That's always a step up from there.
I'm going to need... He contemplates for a few moments. I'm just going to need a bowl of water and a sharp knife.
Oh, would you like High Spring, Evian, or Buxton?
Buxton, of course.
So extra. So extra.
Jesus.
A man of superb culture. I'd expect nothing less.
So basically, what he does is he takes the the water in like a crystal bowl, like something you'd serve punch out of, like a tureen, and he takes the knife and he raises it above his head, and you hear him softly start to chant to it. Basically, Bishop, what I'm going to do is, because you said it was okay, I'm going to reskin a rank 1 Kruak ritual, a divination ritual, as a thieving sorcery ritual.
Okay, let me check what improvising rituals does.
Cool.
Because I know improvising rituals is harder.
I do have the relevant levels of themes to do it.
What's the level of a ritual?
Level
1. What ritual is it called again?
It is called the Pool of Forbidden Truths.
Oh, that one. Oh, fuck. Okay. Okay.
It's pretty neat. I am going to flavor it slightly differently, so this is going to be interesting.
Okay. Yep. Okay, that ritual's good. I'm just gonna double check, see if... Because I have to actually get up 3 books for this, which is a little bit annoying, but it is what it is. I need to
He very
memorize this
casually looks around the room and he says, "When I do this, I will be able to answer a number of questions. However, I will not be able to ask the questions. So if any of you wish to ask the questions as it pertains to what is going on in the sewers, feel free to do so. The questions are for you to choose. I will merely be the conduit for the answers. Hell, you can ask me questions that are not related to things that are happening in the sewers and I'll answer them. But if you do that, it will have broken the spirit of the agreement. I don't necessarily care that much, but this is more so a show to prove that we are capable of answering questions when asked."
Okay. Alright, I don't see any... Nope, so I don't think improvising ritual actually has any specific drawbacks. And I'm just gonna double check, see if it... Okay, yeah, I'll just say that takes the standard number of successes of our ritual.
Cool. So I roll. It's an extended action roll. So I roll how many times?
You can. Oh god. Okay. Ritualists may roll as many times as the unmodified dice pool.
Oh, okay. So because I have a dice pool on modified of 8, I roll 8 times. Or I can roll
Yes.
up to 8 times.
Theban sorcery is.
It's intelligence plus occult, isn't it?
It's academics. It's intelligence plus academics plus Theban sorcery.
That is not a good pool, but it's not terrible, I don't think. Because I built the specs thinking it was academic, or thinking it was... Okay. Intelligence academics plus Thief and Sorcery, you say?
Mm-hmm.
For the record, I highly encourage people to throw a random question at me when I do this if you want a bullshit answer. It's actually, no, it would be a genuinely truthful answer. I think it'd be really funny if somebody just threw something completely random for like your personal plot or something.
Alright. So start rolling. Everybody sees Joshua begin to cut into this bowl of water.
Basically, he's cutting into himself because I have to create a sacrifice because it's Theban sorcery. So I was going to sacrifice a health level of actual damage to do it. So.
And the blood from that wound begins flowing into the basin.
So that's going to be 3 plus 1 is 4, so that's 6. I re-roll that 10.
Joshua also seems to enter a slightly trance-like state. Joshua, you're still vaguely aware of what's going on in the real world.
Cool.
And he begins
2, 3.
Begins staring off into space, twitching and blinking rapidly at abrupt intervals.
4. That is 5 successes, which is the needed threshold.
Okay, how long did that take you?
That was my 4th roll.
Okay, it takes you... And what's your Theban sorcery level again? 2?
2.
Okay. So it takes you... Okay, that takes you... Okay, it takes you almost an... Okay, it takes you an hour.
Yeah, he's happy to sit in the corner and do it for now.
So this is one of the less glamorous rituals. It's just a basin, blood swirling unnaturally in it. It's carried by a momentum that seems invisible or intangible. And for a straight hour, Joshua incants in a language that seems rife with symbology, but you don't really understand it. It seems very distant to you, actually. It seems almost deliberately distant. Like, whenever you hear it, you seem removed from it, like a little bit empty in a way.
All right, then I make one last roll to get the amount of questions I can be asked. So that is a total of 7. I'm going to spend another willpower, bringing me down to 3 willpower for my 6 for an extra 3 dice. Can you spend willpower on these? I assume you can.
You can.
1, 2, 3, 4. Basically, what happens is he's going to put his hands down at a certain point. As you see, the concoction in the middle kind of bubbles to a kind of a almost like a yellow that seems to glow ever so slightly. He closes his eyes, or his eyes open again, and they're just jet white, like he's blind or like something has stripped the sight from his eyes. And in a voice that's not quite his. It has a more kind of a rolling tone to it, like something is speaking down to you or speaking down through something to you. He will just say, "You may ask your questions."
Natalia will walk up, and she will stand before him, and she'll just say, "Who is killing those people in the subway?"
I get an answer. I will paraphrase. Whatever Bishop says I speak, you will speak.
I will PM you. I will actually PM it to you.
Okay.
And,
To be fair, he could in theory opaque the truth if he wanted to, but I'm going to roleplay this more like he's a conduit for something divine and mysterious as opposed to him having full cognizance. Like the Crone version, you can ask your own questions, etc. I think it's cooler for the Theban version if he is the conduit for answers, if that makes sense.
So while this was all happening, I just calmly went and get a first aid kit and just sort of wait till you're done.
Yeah, his wrist is bleeding pretty heavily. He did take a level of like lethal damage as he sliced into himself. Oh, are you sending me this on Facebook or Discord?
Discord.
Okay, cool. I was about to open my Facebook, but I don't have to. Haha, winning. Can I just point out that I think this is the best level 1 ritual by a fucking like country mile. Sits here anticipating the wall of text.
So is everybody having a good time?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
Okay. You didn't send it, Bishop.
I did. It's on your Discord. It's in
It's
your.
on my Discord. Oh, okay, I thought you were going to send it to me as a message.
Character sheet section. No.
Ooh, shiny. Here we go. He looks at the eyes look at you. It like the head snaps in that direction when you speak, and it says, "Hungry animals, half-bloods who have never seen the truth, the curse in all its splendor, cast-offs embraced out of desperation and fear. They dwell in their pit of sin even now, in a broken attempt at companionship."
She looks at him almost as soon as she gets that answer, she will just look at him again, and she will just say, "Who within the Invictus is a traitor to their covenant?"
Oh damn!
Oh crap! Here we go, kids.
Here we go, kids, I guess.
You asked for it, Evan. You got it.
Boom. Yep, Bishop, that could be question number 2. Fuck it, why not? YOLO.
Oh, well, we're just going there, aren't we? Okay, fuck me.
Yeah, we did this shit in public, so I just gonna go talk.
There's nothing that actually compels me to answer the question.
Let's be clear. Natalia's also testing what's going to happen more than anything. She's just like, It's like, is he gonna answer? Worth a try.
Hooray!
Okay. So what was the intent of that question? Was it who would betray the Invictus, or who has joined the Invictus by betraying their former covenant?
Who is betraying? Essentially, she's asking who is actively working against the Invictus at the moment. Like, is there anyone who is a traitor to the Invictus who is currently a member? That's
I
the
choose,
intent of the question.
I choose to point out, he looks up at you, because Bishop, this is exactly what he's going to do. Okay, answer me a question, because you're going to send me an answer. Is there a name in the answer that I'm going to get?
No, but you'll be given a vivid description.
Okay, fuck it. YOLO. We do this live. I was going to say, Bishop, to save you time, just say it, and I'm happy to be the mouthpiece, because like, it's effort for you to type.
No, I'll just send you their picture.
Oh, okay. I get to play charades.
There you go.
Okay. What happens next is really interesting. You see him look. You see the head kind of stop, and it twitches twice. Before he will say, How do I go about? The term "imminently flat-chested" comes to mind, and I don't know how to voice this. I'm sorry.
Sorry, what?
If you could see the picture I'm saying. Lamau. His he says her hair is white. Yeah, that's not just the picture, right?
Yep.
Hair is white as snow. 1, 2, 3, 4 piercings adorn her right ear. One of them the sign of God upon his cross. Is she beautiful, Bishop?
Striking looks 1.
She is beautiful to the eyes of Adam, desired to him as Eve was. Her eyes do not see and yet appear to pierce all that they do. She is soft. She is white. She is as white as the snow, the virginal snow. And yet she is your Judas.
Well, it's politics.
This is going to be a minus a lot of dice, because this description it's helpful, but it's very vague.
As a matter of
I
fact,
mean, he kind of just described himself.
Yes.
he rips open. Actually, yeah. He will put down a hand and he will say, "Paper." Just one word, paper. Mm-hmm. He will remove a pen, and I'm gonna Bishop. Its expression.
I'm gonna hand him a napkin. Right? Actually, you know what? I'd probably have paper on me. I'll give him a piece of paper.
I was gonna say it's expression to draw, isn't it?
Yeah,
also,
I think it is.
Something important to note. I just put it in your.
Okay, I'll have a look. See.
It's quite important for you personally.
He contemplates, and no, he stops very abruptly, and he will say he puts his hand on the paper and moves it away before he will say, "I will take the next question."
It's
Can I get my roll, please? Like,
You can roll. You have a roll of -4 dice to this because this is hard life.
And I'm going to spend a willpower, so that's 3 extra, so that would put me at 2.
Exactly. We're doing this. We're freaking fucking.
And the dice roller is slow.
Spending a point of willpower first of the night.
Oh baby, spice.
Can I put out this is literally the I fucked the GM's plot ritual?
2 successes.
I got 1.
To be fair, I get to decide what you find out.
Who the fuck is it, Bishop?
Okay, so how many of you both succeeded? Okay.
He will add one thing before you continue, Bishop, in case this will make it easier based on their power spread. He will say, interesting. She sees me even as I see her.
Oh, that sounds dangerous.
I'm not the one that's the conduit.
Yeah, but I live with him.
Feels bad, bro. Feels bad. Getting flashbacks from Kyoto.
Natalia is quite fast typing in on her phone. Bishop, do you want me to note in my notes if when I send a text to my sire about a description and my thoughts on this, or is it just done?
Just put it in your character channel. You with a success, you know that you don't know this person in the sense that they're not noteworthy enough. You don't know any face that matches this description, which means either that they're being protected by someone higher up the food chain, or that they've gone to lengths to not make themselves known. That they are trying to go out of their way to not be noticed, which means they're probably, which is more difficult than it sounds. This is actually noteworthy because it is difficult. It's you basically being aware that this person is using the anonymity merit. It's probably a member of the Neonates. They probably have at least one alias they're using. And they're probably in fairly deep with someone specific. Because they wouldn't be able to find out much by being a member of the rank and file. They probably have the favor of somebody. Or are being protected by somebody. So that could mean there are multiple traitors within the Invictus working together.
Oh my god. It's conspiracy.
Good.
Or simply that this person whose favor they have is simply a fool and is being tricked and played. But you know that this person, you're going to have to hunt this person down. With the description, this person's description, they do appear somewhat distinctive, so if you were to catch their face, you'd probably recognize it. You would basically roll to recognize it, but because they're striking looks, you'd get a bonus. So you know if you saw them, you'd probably recognize them. But they're probably young, they're probably a member of the Neonates, and they're probably carrying favor of a specific person, not the court at large, so as to avoid any hoo-ha about their presence. That's what your political senses would tell you. They're probably looking for someone specific who will feed them information via proxy. That's, if you're a spy, that's what you do.
There are 2 more questions to get the name.
I have done my part.
The half-breeds in sewers. Are they half us, or are they something else?
I take it that's a much more simple. They're half. They're basically half out. They're what this universe version of Caitiff is, aren't they?
Less than caitiff.
Oh,
The ghouls.
how would he describe them? Yeah.
Um, oh. Um, there we go.
Thin-blooded, not embraced per se, rather an accident of overfeeding. They carry a lineage. They carry a lingering portion of the curse. They are not full kindred as such. They carry its hunger, but they carry.
They're not. Sorry,
Okay.
I mistyped.
They are not full kindred as such. They carry its hunger, but not the power. The potency of the blood is lost on them unless they were to be uplifted.
I guess it shouldn't be that hard to find.
And Bishop, the last question I will ask internally. Why don't the Lucia Sanctum want me to find the thing?
Pardon?
Why don't the Lucia Sanctum want me to find the where Will Frankenstein was? He'll word it better. I'm just tired. Or sorry, why don't the Order of Cruel want me to find where Frankenstein was?
Oh.
Bitch. Such a bitch.
It's fine. If I find it, you can have it. That's how life works, right?
I don't know if I want it. Okay, that's a lie. I definitely want it.
This coming from the girl who says, "Hi, my name is Terry, and I've got this odd habit of jumping into portals. I really shouldn't."
Yeah, I definitely want it. I just don't want to get Frankensteined.
Hey.
When I get blamed for the fact that you know about this thing.
Hey.
I mean, if I mean, you will probably be blamed. I'm not gonna lie. Lols.
It's fine. You can join the Church of Longinus, the True Faith.
It's a negatory ghostwriter.
Oh.
He blinks the eyes for the record as I get the answer to the last question. He says, "All questions have now been asked and answered."
Not even how math works, but okay. So when he seems like he's basically done and coming out of the trance, I'm just gonna calmly go over and start bandaging up his arm.
Thank you.
There you
You
go.
want me to roll for it?
But yes, that is your final answer, and as you do, as you complete this ritual, as your questions are answered, you understand that by gazing into this, by inheriting this divine knowledge that is passed down to you, it is not a simple thing. Similar to how the acolytes gaze into the abyss, how they gaze into the darkness for the unknowable, you gaze into the light, and that is a trying thing. Much like how it harms the crone, it harms you, but in a different way.
Ooh.
You are both scarred by truths, but where they are shaken by truth, you are judged for pulling on the curse of God. So rather than taking the primeval truths condition, you will take a different condition.
Oh dear.
Oh yes.
Can I take the raptured condition? Because that's really funny.
You will take the humbled condition. Your character has felt the touch of the divine and trembled. She feels unworthy and wretched. For as long as the condition lasts, she suffers a -2 die penalty to resolve rolls and may not regain willpower from her requiem.
Oof. How much? How do I resolve the condition?
The character may regain willpower by using your mask. So, well, yeah, the resolution is regaining willpower by using your mask, i.e., regaining willpower by dealing with people with your mask, and acting on interacting with the mortal world in a meaningful way.
He smiles as we go to bandage his arm, and he'll say, "Thanks, but needless to say, you have your answers because all truth flows from." By the way, we do acknowledge God, right, in the Church of Online, so we can be like praise
Absolutely.
God, can't we?
Yeah,
Okay.
God is you're the walls of heaven. You guard the gates of heaven and lead the evil into the gates of hell. That often means killing them.
Also, for the purposes of the scene, have I tripped the aspiration either through that, all of the other weird hokey shit that I've done with stage magic? Have I tipped the aspiration, creating a sense of wonderment in those I meet?
I'll leave that up to them. But we'll
Yeah, you might just have.
Okay, thank you.
okay.
I will whore myself.
I mean, honestly, I don't know. Natalia seems way too focused on getting things written down and sending passing messages along for some unknowable reason. I mean, why would she have anything to tell anyone else at this point? Like,
He will look. By the way, he looks at the member of the. He looks at the Invictus member with status that he has met. And he says, "Your trainer saw me when I saw her."
He nods.
And so we dance the dance macabre.
Natalia will come over to her fellow member and she not clan member, but covenant member.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll just say, I'm sorry, it happened a little fast. And she puts out her hand. Natalia.
Outside.
Yeah. I probably should have cleared it with you before, but I thought it was an opportunity not... So, we couldn't pass it up.
You know,
Do you have a phone number or something if we need to talk later?
hand you a card.
Thanks. I might be in touch about this.
He nods.
After the display, Julian will call out, will speak to the host and say, with this new information, does the prince wants us to go on a hunt?
Sounds like these people need some help.
Yes.
Oh yes, the hounds are very busy. Actually, she won't say hounds, she'll say archons.
Ultimately, these people have been taken, they have been abused, they have been broken, and they have been made into less than they were by the actions of an as yet unknown individual. It is our duty to show them some semblance of compassion and some semblance of mercy. I will go into the sewers in order to do this.
Sounds like a party.
Oh, everyone working together, that's nice. I haven't seen that in, well, ever. It's quite revolutionary, actually.
We are all hands upon the sphere, even though we do not know that we have placed our fingers upon it.
Agreed.
When, because if the that's a bad question. Would I know Isabella is part of the Ordo?
Yeah,
I have status, or probably.
yeah. I'm gonna say for convenience sake, yes, you both know each other as part of the Order.
Yeah, that he would more or less been kind of watching her for a while, and like the look on his face, like, why are you basically why are you in such agreement with the Lankea? Like, he's
It's kind of a long story. The short version of it, he pays me, and I work for him.
I mean, why wouldn't you agree with us? We're lovely. We're also objectively correct.
Let's not go that far.
and then he kind of looks at the harpy, like, we are dragons, and we know what our purpose is. We have no need for gods.
I thought the whole point of the Order is that they don't really understand what their purpose is. That's why they seek to learn things, because they don't have a purpose. Kind of like, oof. Kind of like Revenants, really.
We have a purpose, and we have a goal. And our goal is perfection.
Oh, wow. I have actually met someone more naive than most of the laity.
So, be wrapped up in your notions, and I'll be wrapped up in mine.
Can I get a manipulation empathy? Just a cursory one for the harpy and the keeper of Elysium. When the description was given, are they hiding the fact that they know something?
Yeah, sure. Both of these people are actually pretty good at manipulation. It's almost like it's their jobs.
People also drop mass in like the height of the moment.
Okay, this is also true. I will say, actually, yeah, no. Armbray will actually suffer a dice penalty because Phoebe and sorcery does matter to her. However, the keeper, who's an elder, isn't really phased by this. It's, to be honest, it's kind of a cute parlor trick to her.
Sorry, I was away. Who stepped into my homie?
I was just saying that
Yeah, we're just shit talking.
the keeper of Elysium does not. She has not stated it, but she would not consider your magic significant enough for her to suffer a dice penalty to her manipulation rolls because she's old.
A bitch. Yes,
I mean, yes.
Oh yeah, obviously that's fine.
another point of willpower, so that's 7d10 for me.
What are people rolling for? Sorry, I was away getting a drink.
Herbo was rolling manipulation empathy to detect whether any characters were whether the harpy or the keeper was faced. Or whether they knew something. Ooh.
4 successes. Let's get spicy here, kids. Like, we spicy boys. 5.
Nice.
That is meaty.
Okay. So yeah, no, you see through
Specifically, the
both of them.
keeper's on my shit list. Like,
Damn.
The keeper always has this look of I know something you don't, and that hasn't really changed, but she seems very intrigued by by the revelations of Joshua.
Mhm.
But more importantly, when she heard about a traitor of the Invictus, when he started describing her, when she heard that question, she elicited a transparently devious smile.
Mhm.
And ever since that question's been asked, it's almost like she feels fulfilled in a way, like she's like she has a particularly mischievous demeanor about her now.
Oh, okay.
The harpy seems to be deep in consideration, and when these things in the sewers were mentioned, she seems to be considering it very carefully. It's like she's going through what the possibilities could be. And although she's hid it, she seems to have reached some sort of conclusion. One that bothers her. It doesn't make her feel good. It upsets her.
Outside's eyes will shift, almost knowingly, from the harpy back to the keeper, and his eyes narrow. It's almost as if he's connecting dots. He sits back, folds his arms, and with a very satisfactory nod.
Joshua's been sitting in the corner, as you say, humbled now. But he's taken the paper that was originally offered to him and the pen, and he's been sketching. I rolled my little expression roll to sketch. Before he will roll up the paper in his hands in a actually, Bishop question, because the PC's here. He looks at the harpy and he says, "Is there any more senior representatives of the Invictus currently in this room?"
Oh, well, we do have an Archon present, but he's been keeping a low profile for the evening.
I have no doubt that he saw our little display. Could you point him to me?
She actually considers this very carefully.
He will look to Joshua like once he poses the question. You're dealing with something that is in fact leagues above you.
I am aware of this. However, it is God's will now.
No. This is so
What
good.
may in fact be God's will, they will in fact lead you like a lamb to the slaughter.
Ultimately, that is what we all are. Those of us who are not wolves are sheep.
So my question to you is do you
There was a
are you
reason.
are you content with playing the part of the sheep?
There was a reason, my friend, that I was not given a name when I asked and when I was given the information. There was a reason because names are tricky. Names can be changed. Names can be many different things. A face, yes, makeup can alter it, or magic can occasionally hide it. But in the end, a face is a face. And I wish to give the Invictus a gift.
And to be blunt, of all beings, why would God be inclined to make your trials easy?
Exactly. We must be judged for each sin, and it must be purged from us.
As you wish.
Jesus Christ. It just pops out, and Natalia just turns her head and is about to say something when her eyes goes a bit wide, and she goes,
He's made his
I have
choice. He just said like,
I have to go for a moment. And she excuses herself.
So, the Archon you mentioned, whom are they?
Kozlova, yes. He's currently keeping a keen eye on this conversation, but... oh, well, now I've just said it, so, you may as well appear. She kind of looks into empty space. She pauses.
Oof, using disciplines on Elysium. Tisk tisk.
Very well. The individual in question does not wish to reveal themselves at this point in time. Although I'm sure they will be contacting you in the ways that they know best. In fact, I think they already have.
Yikes.
He will very I don't know how obfuscate works in this. He will very casually hold out the paper that he has rolled up, and he will say, "My gift on behalf of the Sanctum to the Invictus." Any one of you can take it.
I take it.
Basically, it's not. I was one success off an exceptional success. It's a sketch of the face of the individual in question.
Natalia will just come back. She'll probably notice the sketch, and she'll just walk over. Do you mind if I take a picture of that sketch?
He snaps one for himself and hands it over.
She snaps one herself.
I ultimately believe that if God wished this individual to be found out before whatever sins they were attempting to commit were themselves committed. That is why they were the ones who were shown me. Also, ask yourself a question. Not just anyone can tell when it is you use the magics of the blood to look upon them.
Actually, they can. Everybody gets to roll defense against sorcery, and it's apparent to them personally when it's being used on them.
Really?
Very literally 100 million things.
Dumb.
So yeah, defense against sorcery. Let me find it for you. Defense against sorcery. The subject of a blood ritual does not need to be present for the ritual to take effect. Ritualists are wary when using rituals to target kindred and other supernatural beings. The victim of an unwanted ritual has a chance to shake it off, and the touch of a ritualist's vampiric nature exposes her to her intended victim.
Ooh, okay. I'll fight that neonate. It's fine. Nothing's on fire. Delicious diablerie.
Oh God.
Ooh, this is interesting. While the ritual is taking place, the victim increases his blood sympathy to the ritualist by 2 ranks if he's of the same clan, or gains it at thrice removed if he's of a different clan. So you felt a real connection to her very briefly.
Oh, so I now have an idea what clan she is, do I?
No. You temporarily gain blood sympathy while the ritual's happening. Now that it's ended, it's gone. But you wouldn't know what her clan is. Rather, it's kind of like your blood kind of connects because you're using magic upon her. So you kind of get a sense of each other.
Ooh, spicy.
So she got a sense of you. That's why she was able to look at you.
By the way, who's the lanky? I don't know. It's not an archbishop. Is it a bishop?
There is an archbishop. He is not well liked within Lancashire, or outside of Lancashire.
Why not?
He's a dick.
Oh, right. Okay.
Um,
Such is our lot in life.
he's
Is there-
Pope Benedict. He's not a nice man.
Is there a leader of the Crusaders? So essentially, the head of my warrior order.
What article? Let's go.
Yes, there is. Let me find them for you.
Do they get the title Lord Crusader? Because that's fucking bitching, and I want it.
They do actually. Kind of like how there's a Lord Crusader and a High Inquisitor in the city.
Ooh, ah.
So the High Inquisitor, I'll just list them both off because you've noticed they're part of your covenant. It's important that your character knows this. The High Inquisitor is Saturn Fane. You also know that she is also an Archon. The Lord Crusader. Let me find them. Is sorry, this is taking a little bit. I've gone through like 5 of the wrong files to them out. Bloody hell. I finally found them. Okay. No, they are they're Lord Crusader Shepherd. As their last name. Their full name is Lord Crusader Mo Shepherd.
Mo.
What clan are they? I need to know.
Oh, they're Clan Gangrel.
Ugh.
God damn it.
Just remember, kids, delicious diablerie.
With all the, I guess, things going on, Julian will stand and look over to our host and say, "I will," and it will say, "I'll begin my research and I'll begin my research to find what's the word I'm going to use for this? Well, deal with the chapped. Do you want them captured or killed?"
The ones in the sewer?
Any nods.
So you are referring to the lost land and the product of an individual's blasphemy as chaff.
If this is important, they are more of a detriment than anything. So,
Not if we can catch them.
Yes, this is why they're going to be reasoned with. They are still valued. They are not chaff.
they are entrapped until proved otherwise at this point. That's why I asked.
Hey, Bishop.
Oof.
The ringmaster turns and he stands up to his full height and he says, "So, hang on. The traditions are called the what in this?"
They're just called the traditions, and there's only 3.
Is destruction one of them?
There is the first tradition, masquerade. Do not reveal your true nature to those not of the blood. Doing so forfeits your claims to the blood. The second tradition, progeny. Sire another at the peril of both yourself and your progeny. If you create a child, the weight is your own to bear. And the third tradition is amaranth. You are forbidden from devouring the heart's blood of your kindred. If you violate this commandment, the beast calls to your own blood.
So you're saying that we can in fact kill each other?
Yes.
Oof.
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 Of course, the prince has laid down an edict forbidding this, so...
He will say, under the prince's own law, these individuals are still protected until his word is given otherwise, and only his word.
So you say to yourself, they're not even real kindred. And so,
They
and like,
still constitute under kindred law.
They are victims of someone else's greed and failure to control themselves, or someone else's own atrocities. Why should we kill them?
Oh, Harpy.
Yeah. She actually, this is actually a... She looks mad. This is like the first time she's actually, like, this was an emotional outburst.
Oh, I was gonna ask her that. I didn't know who was giving like the outburst. I was gonna ask her to like, you know, be the law and say what's what.
which I find more disturbing that yet I stated whether or not you want them killed or captured, and you're mad that I simply.
They have right. He brings his fist down on the table. He says, they have rights. I'm not going to shout. He shouts.
And again, he looks over and he says,
who are you to confine them? Who are you to sentence them? You are nothing. You will sit down.
and that eyes stare and his eyes kind of flicker a minute. I am going to say, in just in a very clipped tone, I'll roll my dice, which manipulation.
Natalia is backing off at this point.
Yeah, Chris, would it be manipulation, intimidation to use that effect? I guess.
Oh, you want to lash out of your beast?
No, I'm more or less just trying to make my presence known to this man.
Okay, just roll manipulation, intimidation minus Joshua's resolve.
All right.
Joshua's resolve is 3, I think.
Okay, so manipulation, presence, intimidation.
Presence, intimidation.
Presence,
Right.
intimidation minus result minus 3.
Right.
Just let me check what his actual resolve is. Give me 2 secs. It used to be 3 back, or it used to be 4 when I was originally doing the sheet. No, it is 3.
All right. And that is 4 dice for me, and I will spend a willpower on this.
Spicy.
Oh god. Keep track of your willpowers, folks. Because you don't gain it back through just sleeping. You actually have to get it back through axing out your mask and your dirge.
It's my first one time to use it. So. And 1 take away, right?
No.
No, they don't? Okay.
No one's to take away, no.
Okay. All right. Then that's just 2. But nonetheless, he just simply says, calm down.
Joshua, like, at his full height, Julian is a bit taller than you, and he does look like a pretty nasty bruiser.
Joshua puts his hand to his hip, and he will say, he puts his hand to his hip, and he smiles very nonchalantly, and he will say, you may joke about breaking the prince's edict, which you have done. You may state that you are prepared to break the prince's edict by killing members who are under his protection. That is your business. I will not stand for treason being uttered in the prince's Elysium. Only he, no one here, may give the order. Understand the fact that in your utterances, in your statements, in your credences, you are skating dangerously close to the defiance of the prince's edict until he has spoken otherwise.
I feel that no one is listening to my words. So you want these people captured then not killed? Yes or no?
This man appears from nothingness and simply says, I think you are all fools for assuming the prince's intent.
And that's why I asked.
These
I'm more taken
creatures
aback by the
stand.
man just appeared.
He is a grotesque-looking man with a pointed ears, a kind of a rocky, bald head with a circle carved into his forehead, almost like a perfect circle. Like it's so smooth.
You know what? This motherfucker gets a bow. You know, props.
Yeah, he's not particularly big. Like he's not really any larger than you, but he stands as if he stands all above you. The only person he seems to show any, even the remotest acknowledgement to is outside, who he actually looks at for a brief moment, and actually just kind of nods to.
Who the fuck? He gets the full bow. Sass stops immediately.
When you bow, he actually kind of gives you a deeper nod that may actually resemble some sort of pseudo bow. You can roll me your wits politics or your intelligence politics if you want, all of you.
Who are you? Senpai noticed me.
Natalia and Outside both get +2 to your pool.
Shit, I have to re-roll that.
I know who he is because I've literally just been told I've been told who he is.
2 successes.
Archon guy.
He may in fact be.
By the way, what does it? You called him an Archon, didn't you?
I have 1 success.
I have
What?
cool.
What does an Archon actually do in this setting?
They're an equivalent of hounds. They represent the sheriff and, by extension, the law enforcement of the city and carry out the will of the sheriff and the prince. They investigate crimes, they adjudicate crimes, and sentence people where it is necessary to sentence them when the sheriff and the prince cannot do so.
Ooh.
So being a hound, but kind of cool. But yes, both of you succeed. So no, you both recognize this person as Mort Koslova. He is an Invictus neonate of Clan Nosferatu. He is one of the Archons. He is the most recent Archon, but he has yet to have any real significant scandal or failure surround him in the city. He's taken to his role of a sort of fervor, kind of similar to that of a chivalrous knight. He is very, he is known for being a particularly strict Archon. And not being particularly merciful. These castaways, these thin-blooded wretches, stand in direct contradiction of our law of the second. Of the prince's edicts of domain. They willfully break them. They have endangered and annulled the masquerade. They are criminals, outlaws, murderers, and a danger to the society that we all reside within.
But they may not even know what they are or what they're doing.
Has ignorance ever served as an excuse from the law?
They can be taught.
It does not change the weight of their crimes.
Then wouldn't it be the ones that created them that would be responsible, as accordance with the second law?
The very calmly, Joshua stands up. He stops where he's leaning. He stands up and he says, Archon, I choose to argue a point of kindred law with you.
There is a sigh from Natalia as she just bows to the Archon and says, I will have to get moving. It was lovely to meet all of you. And she will make her excuses and leave. And the player will go to bed.
Good night.
Good evening.
Sleep well. I'm waiting to see if the Archon responds.
He just looks at you silently.
It has long been a legal fact that members of the Lucius Sanctum are able to offer sanctuary to kindred whom have been unjustly persecuted, and this sanctuary has been upheld and maintained by law, tradition, and oath they are sworn via the Invictus. I'm going to assume that's how the sanctuary merit works.
Yeah, basically you can kind of abuse your city status to say, hey, this is a sacred ground, do not harm anyone upon it, do not commit any political, violent, illegal acts upon it. As such, anyone who stays there is effectively safe from any attempt to apprehend or harm them.
This is the case, Archon.
And who would offer these faceless criminal sanctuary?
Those who would see them with a face.
I'm not asking for a retort. I'm asking for a name. Otherwise, this point is moot.
Is there a sanctuary that is located in the city of London? I will have one, but I don't have one yet.
There is a bishop, high-ranking kindred, quite powerful, the most respected bishop in the city. One could argue they are more respected than the archbishop.
Who's a shit pile, apparently.
This person is called Bishop Castile.
Can I ask a very odd question? Is Bishop Castile a good person?
I mean, how much do we really know?
I mean, actually, no. I can ask an even better question. Is Bishop Castile known for his art of Theban sorcery?
Her art of Theban sorcery.
Her
And
art of Theban
yes,
sorcery. That means that she is by necessity a good person.
well, she's at the very least been able to retain her mental and retain her mental faculties. She may have committed thousands of murders and just succeeded on every roll to retain humanity.
That's possible.
I will speak to Bishop Castile. What was the name? Bishop Castile?
Bishop Castile, yes. She is an
I
elder
was-
Deva.
I will speak to Bishop Castile, and we will see if sanctuary can be offered these poor wretches until such time as we can determine what to do with them. If that is offered, you will respect it as Archon, yes?
I would not contravene the dictates of a prince. The bishop's haven for the so-called persecuted is well known and respected by the city's court. The sheriff, and by extension his archons, have made no demands or inquiries into the individuals who have since chosen to remain within this sanctuary on a permanent basis. This is a statement of fact. so long as the prince considers this haven for the so-called persecuted to be legitimate in his eyes, then it shall remain that way until the prince decides otherwise.
In that
And
case, oh sorry,
when
continue.
and when such a time comes, the sheriff and his archon shall act and enforce the law.
This is
By the way,
understandable.
he says an important thing to note. He said when, not if.
Haha.
With that last statement from the Archon, Julian will say, look at him, square up with them, not in a aggressive fashion, more of a direct, like kind of like line of communication and a sign of respect, and says, then my Archon, what is your suggestion of our actions from this point forward?
We are to investigate these killings and apprehend the perpetrators. If they attempt to assault us and resist apprehension, their lives would be forfeit. But they have broken the laws of this princedom, of the court, and of the Invictus, and they'll be held accountable for these crimes.
Aye. So, if they are to come peacefully, I should bring them to you, or representatives of your people.
Let's bring them before a representative of the sheriff.
Aye. So then I'll work on that as quickly as possible.
It was in this moment that Joshua realized that the Carthians will rule this city.
Good. Then one of us has the honor to understand and uphold the law. And actually, he will say, he will actually look at our side and say, I do have a trust that the number here is truly 2.
Say that again? You broke up.
He says, but I have a trust that this number is truly 2.
Yes. He hands him a piece of paper.
It slides. He kind of slides it into his sleeve.
Mm.
Oh, I forgot to note, he is actually armed with an arming sword at his waist, and has a heavy revolver on his left side. He simply stares at you silently.
In regards to his comment about people who follow the prince's law, Joshua will say, as he pulls his coat on over his shoulders, kind of obviously getting ready to leave, he will say, some of us must follow the law of God as well as the law of the prince.
Some of us have common sense.
I choose life.
If
He
you
smiles
wish,
and says, sorry, just before we continue, he smiles and says, the Invictus often do.
And this is why we persevere.
if one wishes to preach common sense, I would suggest speaking with your Lancashire colleagues first.
Are you talking to me?
Mm-hmm. And he simply vanishes.
It has been a pleasure to meet all of you. However, it now seems as though a race has begun. Exciting. I look forward to seeing you all at the finish line.
Right. Julian just looks over to Joshua and says, he said, "You're such a drama queen."
And God will judge you in due time.
You're both pretty. Can we go?
What she said.
I am the prettiest princess.
I agree. He is much prettier than you, person. Who are you? Who are you?
You talking to me?
So Julian will respond. No, I guess technically nobody knows his name, Julian, but he'll just simply say, "I am Mr. Goodman."
We should compare notes later.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's a wildly inappropriate name for you. I must think of another.
Yeah.
It's a name that I will hold gladly and more than earned. So,
Yes, I'm sure. Murdering innocent half kindred is earning the title Goodman. Yes.
that's right. I said, making sure that the humans don't know that we're here is what's most important. If these children at this point are willing to listen and learn, then they're willing to listen to learn. If they aren't, it's easier just to make sure they don't ever cause another scene.
Praise Longinus. The light has shone. He's changed his tune. Praise be Longinus.
He never wanted to kill him specifically. That's why he asked permission. That's why he doesn't understand why everybody got mad.
Everybody's very dramatic.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, Harpy is present. And also the
For the
ringmaster is
record,
present.
what will happen now is as they leave, Isabella is getting a piggyback as they leave.
I'm sorry, what?
You're getting a piggyback.
It's a hard no.
Okay.
Though,
I can fireman's lift you if you'd rather.
God damn it.
though he will look over to the host and say, maybe we rely on you with any resources to help catch these children.
Who is he looking to when he says that?
The host. He's asking if she's willing to aid them, if it's available.
I'm sorry, this isn't my circus. The Archon's taken ownership of that.
He nods at that.
He's the chief clown in this clusterfuck.
Messes are always easy to not easy. Messes are always able to be cleaned.
Very true. By the way, how does that make you feel, Joshua?
Some of my best
How
friends
does
are clowns.
Sorry, what did he say? I wasn't paying much attention.
The keeper just turns to you and says, after like talking about how he's the chief clown, how the Archon is the chief clown, she turns to you and says, by the way, how does that make you feel, knowing that you are not the chief clown?
That's right. I'm the ringmaster. I lead the clowns.
You certainly bring out the best in everyone.
A retort for just about every occasion. I'm impressed. Although I think the Archon will consider cutting your tongue off to be a much swifter way of resolving that problem.
Just grow it back. Don't bother.
The Archon and I have no quarrel. After all, he is a law-abiding servant of the prince's court. What could possibly go wrong?
Except the flippant instigations that seem to be flying around like wildfire.
Well, maybe
Yes,
if we
I'm
talked
keeping-
less and did more, this wouldn't be a problem. As he begins to, Goodman begins to walk down the stairs.
And everybody wonders how I got to where I was.
And now it would seem the race is on. Shall it be damnation? Shall it be salvation? Only time will tell.
And on that note, we shall end the scene there. Thank you, players, for playing in this first scene. Thank you, watchers, for watching. And we'll see you all for the next scene.